So, as I said earlier, the Labor Act is, I would say, a big book on its own, which is for reference, but we would want to just have an overview of what is stated in the Labor Act. Right, so the part 8 of it states fair and unfair termination of employment, what kind of termination of employment is considered as fair termination, unfair termination of employment. It is explicitly stated. Remedies for unfair termination: when someone's contract or employment is terminated in an illegal way, what are the remedies, redundancies, and exceptions? And also protection of remuneration. Payment of remuneration, as stated in the Labor Act: equal pay for equal work, explicitly stated. Prohibited deductions and permitted deductions. These are stated. Which deductions are prohibited, which deductions are permitted to be done in the employee's income or salary. Employer not to compel workers to use its store. Workers must have the freedom of choice, and these are also stated. And paid public holidays. I would want to move quickly to what we've talked about, trade unions or labor unions and employment organizations. So it's the Labor Act states the freedom of association, formation of trade unions or employers organization. If you remember, we said that workers are not supposed to be restrained from joining a trade union. So the trade union, the Labor Act has made provision as to how trade unions can be formed, how employment organizations can be formed. The organizational rights are stated. Independence of trade unions and employers association are also protected by the Labor Act. Application for registration, certificate of registration, rules of trade unions and employers organizations are stated, so that you can always go and refer to it to know if someone is breaching any of these rules. Register of trade unions and employers association is also mentioned in the Labor Act. And protection against discrimination. Right. Okay. We talked about collective agreement, if you remember. So this is also, that is in the part 12 of the Labor Act, is stated explicitly. Collective agreement, duty to negotiate in good faith, contents of collective agreements, collective bargaining certificates, variation of certificates, negotiation, and what have you. The next thing that is stated in the Labor Act, for which I want to bring your attention to, is about the National Tripartite Committee. You remember we mentioned that the National Tripartite Committee. So the Labor Act has provision for the establishment of the National Tripartite Committee. Functions: it states the functions of the National Tripartite Committee, meetings of the committee, and also regional and district tripartite committees. So these are occupational health and safety, and also environment are stated in the Labor Act. Forced labor are stated. Labor inspection, unfair labor practices. National Labor Commission. I don't know if you've heard of National Labor Commission and NLC. It is also stated in the Labor Act. Establishment and functions of the National Labor Commissions and all that goes into it are stated in the Labor Act. Now, one very important thing is settlement of industrial disputes. If there is any dispute in the industry, it is the Labor Act that is supposed to be referred to, and for it to be settled amicably. It also has provision for strikes. So in the Labor Act, you can tell which strike is illegal and which is legal. And lockout, legal effect of lawful strike or lockout. Temporary replacement of worker picketing. All these are stated, and it has miscellaneous that captures other things that might be considered quite trivial, but has some effect in the relationship between an employer and an employee. So the Labor Act is made available. I would want you to have time and run through it as you aspire to be a human resource manager, you can never and never do away with the Labor Act. It empowers you to be knowledgeable and to know whether steps you are taking are in the right direction or not. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a wonderful time. I would also stand by for any questions you may have. Bye.